Hey guys, in this video we are doing a high handicap driver testing. This is Andrew, he's gonna be our test subject, and we're gonna be testing the most forgiving drivers of 2024. So let's find out what's the best driver for you.
I'm excited, man. Thanks for having me.
Okay, we're gonna start with your current driver, because I wanna get a benchmark on how you hit your current driver. Tell me about this thing.
This is my Taylormade M4. It was a Father's Day gift from my beautiful wife, Brooklyn, and my two boys. Thanks again. It's gotten me through 3 decent seasons of golf. It's definitely the worst part of my game, to say the least.
So you've changed the hosel setting. So I see you got it on the higher launch setting.
Yes, I was convinced to get the 9.5 driver, and I just found that I couldn't hit it high enough, and you know, just low worm burners all day long.
Okay, and you also have a regular stiffness in here.
Yeah, that's the stock shaft. I'll be brutally honest, I'm a little price conscious when it comes to buying myself things, and so that's how it came, that's how I play it.
So you've never been for a fitting before?
Never been to a fitting in my life. I've actually taken quite a long hiatus away from golf due to injury and personal reasons, but you know, I fell back in love with the game and I'm all in at this point, man.
Okay, so we are primarily just testing these drivers. I'm interested how each of these drivers might work for your swing. Even though it's not a fitting, I'm gonna still maybe play around with some settings just to get the optimal yardage and distances that we're looking for.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start with you hitting this driver. So we'll start with that and then we'll go from there.
Sounds good, man.
For this testing, we're filming at Modern Golf in Calgary, Alberta. The elevation here is 3,400 feet. We're using a TrackMan, so the elevation is set at that. And for golf balls, Andrew, do you know if you'd play a Pro V1 or a Pro V1X?
The only Pro Vs I play are the ones I find in the bushes, man. Like,
fair enough. We're gonna start with Pro V1X. I'm thinking I might be able to get a little higher spin, higher launch, especially you saying that you hit it pretty low. I'm gonna go with a Pro V1X because it'll fly higher than a Pro V1. So Andrew, really quick, can you kind of just tell the audience what type of golfer you are?
I am a weekend warrior, to say the least. Anytime I can get away from the kids and wife and get 18 holes in with the buddies, that's what I try to do. Last year was the first time I ever took track of my handicap, and it said 16, but you and I both know at least 2 mulligans per round are built into that one. So I'd say I'm probably anywhere from an 18 to a 20 handicap. Room for improvement. The most consistent part of my game is definitely the consumption. So yeah, I'm looking to turn a leaf here and really focus on lower scores.
Okay, since we're looking at drivers today, what are the typical characteristics of your drive shots?
It's tough. It's all over the place, to say the least. When you hit it well, you hit it well. I find that I lack a lot of yardage compared to my playing partners. When comparing my iron striking to my driver striking, I lose a lot of yardage, and my misses with my drivers are very unforgiving misses.
Do you miss on one side of the fairway? Do you miss right or left?
It's generally left, a hard pull left into the trees, and that's where I find my Pro V1s.
So what we're gonna do first is I wanna get 10 swings, 10 good swings with your current driver, just so we can get a benchmark. So this is where we're gonna start, and hopefully as we go through other drivers, we're gonna improve on your current driver.
Awesome.
So it's gonna be a lot of catch release. So go ahead, just keep hitting balls. And if you hit one that you think like that was nowhere near how you think you'd make contact, then I can delete it. But knowing that you have kind of this low left miss, it's good to at least keep this with your current driver. So,
absolutely.
So we'll see if we can improve on that. So I know you've been away from the game for a bit, but since you got back into it, it sounds like you're kind of obsessed with it.
I do like it a lot. I like every aspect about it. It's such a mental game. You know, it takes one bloop to ruin your day, but it takes one great shot to set it up for success. So
you were telling me that you put a net in your garage.
I did, yeah. You get the kids to bed, and I hung a net and got some foam balls, and I just, you know, try to stay loose, make good contact.
Nice.
Practice when I can, you know.
Did you want to delete that last one, or would that be you'd see that on the course sometimes?
I will see that. Like, I'll be honest, this is all...
Okay, we'll keep it in.
This is definitely legit data, for sure.
Is there anything you don't like about your driver from like a look, sound, feel aspect?
I mean, even when I do hit it well, it kind of sounds like you're hitting it with a piece of driftwood. So the sound feedback for me isn't quite there. The mishits, the good hits, they all kind of sound the same, right? So I don't hear it echoing through the mountains, to say the least.
I gotcha. 278, that's pretty big, buddy.
That's definitely a good drive for myself, to say the least.
That's large, 280.
Yeah. That's once around if I'm lucky.
Okay. Okay, Andrew, that's 10. I'm gonna go through the data with you really quick here.
Awesome.
Okay, Andrew, so these are your averages, all these numbers at the bottom. Okay. So club head speed was one of the first things I want to talk to you about because you're playing a regular stiffness shaft. So when I start getting guys into stiff shafts, they're around anywhere from 96, 97 miles an hour to about 105, 106, 107. So your club head speed at an average of 98 miles an hour qualifies for a stiff shaft. So the drivers that I'm going to get you to test are all going to be stiff shafts. So we're talking about your miss, okay? So let's look at kind of the trajectory of your hits here. We see the majority of them are going to the left. There's a couple reasons for that, I think, with your current club. One being it's a regular flex shaft and you're swinging at a stiff level swing. So the club head could be getting too far ahead of your hands and just turning over really quick.
Okay.
Another reason for the left miss is you have your driver on the higher setting. So I know you want to get the ball higher in the air, but what happens with a higher hosel setting is it actually closes the face. So even though you want to hit it higher, this high setting might be hindering that left miss.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do with the new drivers is this is a 9.5. I'm actually going to put you in a 10.5. Okay. So I'm just going to change the loft and I'm going to move them all to the standard setting. Let's look at your other averages though. Spin rate was actually pretty decent. Typically a lot of high handicappers that I fit have a really high spin rate. You are actually on the opposite end. You're on the low end. I would prefer to get your spin up to about 2,700 RPM. So we'll see what happens when I change the heads, change the shafts. Launch angle's decent. Carry, you're only carrying on average about 215. And I think the reason is, take these averages into consideration because we had a couple misses. So we had this one here, kind of really a low miss, 226. If I got rid of that, your average is gonna go up. But for the most part, it looks like these are kind of 230 to 260 and the really good ones are going up to 270, okay?
Yeah, and that's sometimes frustrating because, only getting 15, 30 yards off the tee, it's a huge disadvantage for me.
We'll try to get you hitting it further. Smash factor is actually pretty good. The way smash factor works, it's your ball speed divided by your club head speed. So being a 144 is actually pretty decent. The best number that you could get is 1.5. Okay. Height and attack angle, you are hitting up on the ball a little bit. So if you want to get the ball in the air, we definitely want a positive attack angle. So I want you swinging up. Let's look at your dispersion really quick. I'm going to pull up this table for your dispersion. So the center line where we see 280, 260, 240, that's the center line. So whenever you had a fade, when you got that little fade in, those were the closest to the line. It's kind of, we want to eliminate these big pulls. So I'm going to start giving you some new drivers and we're going to see if we can get tighter to that line. Cool. Because I really do like your swing. So I think that we can give you the right club just to get better results. Awesome. Is there a manufacturer that you want to hit first?
I'm not a brand connoisseur to say the least. If the tool does the trick, it does the trick. I have no preference. I did go with Taylormade just because I kind of made my set match, but I'll be honest, I'm open to anyone and anything. Okay,
well, I'll take your driver and I'll give you something new.
Cool.
Okay, Andrew, you told me that you're price conscious when looking at a new driver.
Yeah, I have two very expensive summer hobbies, fly fishing and golfing, so every dollar I save, the better.
Okay, so we're gonna start on the lower price point of drivers. This is the Wilson Dynapwr. So this comes in about $550 Canadian, so even cheaper for our US viewers. So the head is a higher loft, 10.5 degree. We're going up in stiffness, so now we have a stiff shaft. This one is 50 grams. So all the shafts that I have for you are either a 50 or 55 gram. They go up to a 60 gram. 60 gram is obviously heavier, but because you're on the lower end of the swing speed for stiff shaft, I wanted to go lighter.
Okay. And now would the length of the shaft play any factor into?
Yeah, so all of these are gonna be either 45 or 45.5 inches. You are...
Not a tall guy.
I'm glad you said it. So some things, if we were doing a full fitting, some things that we could do with drivers is you could cut them shorter. If you find that you're just choking down like 2 inches, 3 inches on your driver, we can cut them off. But you should have maybe just more control. So if you don't like the length of your driver, that's something that we can definitely change in a full fitting.
Cool.
Okay. Another thing with the shaft too, and all the shafts I put in all these drivers, these are all the stock options. So I really wanted to mimic you, a regular golfer, goes into Golf Town or Golf Galaxy, you're looking at drivers off the rack, you want to hit a couple, this is that experience. If we're doing a full fitting, I could put 100 different shafts in there and narrow down which is best. There's so many good stock shaft options. They each have different characteristics. So for you, I picked a mid to high launch, and then either that 50 or 50 gram stiff. Okay, so let's start hitting this Wilson.
I can notice the face angle instantly is different because it's on a standard loft.
Does it look open?
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. It doesn't look nearly as closed.
Okay.
It's good ball flight, didn't get too many yards out of it.
Yeah, a little bit of a cut. But again, it's something new, unfamiliar, so let's see how it progresses. You're laughing, what's funny?
Just two great ball flights. The yardage wasn't there, but
Right, we got two cuts, and right away I thought that would happen in just changing the head setting.
Yeah.
So when you're so used to seeing the ball code to the left, it's crazy that it could just be a change.
And and again, at the end of the day, I don't need to hit it 300 yards. If it's a findable drive, I'm a happy camper.
I like all those numbers. Sounded good.
That felt good.
How do you like the looks of this Wilson so far?
I'll be honest, I love the matte black head. The shaft looks pretty neat with that faded red as well.
How about the sound? I know that you don't love the sound of your M4.
Again, sound isn't everything. I just find there's some drivers out there that gives you instant feedback how well you did or did not strike the ball. This sounds, I think, kind of close to the driver I have here now.
So you're going to find that with these newer drivers, they're designed to give you the best miss hit possible. So these drivers with high MOI, if you hit it on the toe, hit it on the heel, they want the ball to still perform really well. Knowing that you want feedback up and down the face, some drivers might just feel the same across the board because that's how they're designed.
Okay.
Man, you're hitting high cuts.
Getting some yardage, there's some roll on there and everything.
Buddy, painting the line. Look at that.
Wow.
247 carry, almost 280 total. You're inside 10 feet of the line. That was awesome.
Yeah, that's. I'm happy with that swing for sure. One came off pretty quick.
But if that was your miss hit, it didn't have that big snappy effect.
That's it.
It was still low. It was just left of the line, and it rolled out like 50 yards. So if that's your miss hit, that was a pretty good miss.
That's a lot of roll.
So one of the reasons for that was really low spin. That was like an uncharacteristically low spin, 1900. Low spin, it'll run a mile.
Okay.
Look at that.
You ask and I deliver, sir.
In the line. I just got to tell you, hit a high cut every time.
Yeah, every time.
Okay, that's 10. Let's take a look at the data with this. Okay, buddy. Ready to go through some differences?
I am.
So one of the first things I noticed, we're hitting the ball way higher. Okay, so we only changed the loft 1 degree. You went from a 9.5 to a 10.5. Even though you're on the higher setting, it's closing your face. So I wouldn't call it apples to apple comparison.
Yep.
So first thing we're looking at is the height. We were averaging 72 feet versus 54 feet.
Wow.
Okay. The other thing I'm looking at is miss hits. So I'm looking on, this is your Taylormade. So I see 1, 2 of the really like the low pull burners. With that Wilson, we only had 1 get away from us. On this Wilson, we now had some high cuts, some high draws. So you're no longer favoring the one side pull as much as you were. You gained a little bit of distance. So your carry went up 10 yards on average, and your total went up a couple yards. I could delete these miss hits, so I don't, just for the fun of it. So if I pull out that 1 miss hit, you're now averaging 263 off the tee. So to only have 1 out of 10 poor hit, I think is a huge improvement.
Instantly,
from your current club, right?
Instantly.
We had 1 super high one kind of get away from you. Maybe that's just getting used to that new loft. But I think overall, I think we see some improvements right out of the gate. Okay, and this is with the lowest price point driver.
Okay.
Okay. How did you think that session went?
It's good. I'll be honest. I've already hit a few golf balls warming up and getting that, but it feels good. And trying new clubs that, to be honest, I probably never would try.
That's fair. I'm going to give you a new one.
Cool.
Okay. This is the Cobra Darkspeed Max. So I was telling you earlier that all these manufacturers have different head types. Cobra this year has 3 different head types. They have a low spin, they have a mid spin, and then a high spin, high forgiveness, which is this driver.
Okay.
So a little pro tip, Andrew, with shafts is even though they say 50 grams or 55 grams, sometimes they're not always that exact weight, which is just going to confuse us golfers. If anyone wants to find out the exact weight of their shaft, they would just have to go on the manufacturer's website and look at the spec sheet, just because they vary a little bit.
Okay.
How do you like the look of this Cobra?
Huge fan of the flat black head, absolutely. It's a different shape head as well. I guess a lot of people do take looks into consideration, but some of the best tools out there look like shit.
That's fair. So you don't really care what it looks like?
Personally, no. I mean,
if it gives you good numbers, you'd hit any one of them.
Yeah, data guy, not an aesthetics guy.
Cool, like it.
Ball speed's been very consistent too, eh?
Dude, that's money.
Oh, I felt that one spin. Well, I thought that was going to be a horrible shot.
Yeah, it's funny, the forgiveness level of it,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's look at your Cobra data. Okay, Andrew. Numbers wise, like ball speed, club head speed, you've been really similar since your original driver. What I'm looking at is the dispersion. So the tighter the circle, the tighter dispersion that we had. So your M4 was just favoring left. I think we could adjust that. We'll get to that maybe later in the video. I might get you to hit your current driver again, just with different settings. Mm-hmm. With the Cobra, you really only had one close to the line, maybe two close to the line. With Wilson, you had like 1, 2, 3. I think you actually had better dispersion with the Wilson. Between the two, the Wilson or the Cobra, which felt better, do you think?
Feeling wise, it was the Cobra. It felt nicer to swing, but I mean, the data would disagree.
Well, I mean, they're very close. Miss, we only had really one get away from you. I like where our misses are versus where we started. Mm-hmm. But I think both the Wilson and the Cobra were pretty decent options for you. The one thing, Andrew, that I noticed that the spin's 2900 was the highest spinning that we've hit yet. What I like about it though is that they're not getting away from you. Mm-hmm. All of these left or right are still in play. Mm-hmm. So I like the forgiveness level of the Cobra. Let's go on to something new.
Let's do it.
Okay, this next one is a Srixon. Srixon has sneaky good woods. I'm a big fan of these Srixon woods. This is the Srixon ZX5 MKII. It's a really good driver, I think. This shaft is the exact same shaft that you hit in the Wilson. Mm-hmm. So far the Wilson, you had the tightest dispersion. So it's a hazardous RDX smoke.
Okay. Yeah, again, I love the matte look of the driver. You're not gonna get as much sun reflection.
I see that too, and people eat me up. I don't like chrome irons. I don't like looking at chrome irons. But apparently people like to defend those. It's got a different sound right off the bat, hey?
Instantly, yeah, instantly different sound. I did feel myself kind of come over the top on that one for sure. But yeah, the sound is definitely different from the first couple, including my own.
So we are getting up in price point now. Now we're looking in like the $699 price point. So we've definitely gone up. Data-wise, it doesn't look like we're getting an extra $200 in performance.
Yeah, the early numbers would definitely agree for sure. I think my whole irons were worth the cost of this driver. So that one felt good.
So I'll be honest with you. If we were doing a fitting, I would just take this driver out of your hands.
Don't even play with it anymore.
I'm just thinking based on what we got out of the Cobra and what we had out of the Wilson, I just don't see the same performance that we're getting out of this Srixon. So that'll happen. It's like sometimes we agree and disagree with certain heads. The loft's the same, the shaft's the same that you already hit, but for whatever reason, we're just not keeping it in the same, dispersion plane that we had with the other drivers.
And that'll change from brands to models.
Exactly. We might as well get you to finish it off 4 more hits, but that's just how I would kind of do a fitting slightly differently. Is I'm watching you hit this, I'm just like, I don't think it's the one for you.
Fair enough.
There, I just had to shit talk your performance for you to do 280 down the line.
Yeah. It heard you.
Perfect smash factor.
Holy moly, who'd have thought?
1.5.
Till today, I had no idea what a smash factor was, so we'll call it a win.
Okay, that's 10. Let's take a look.
Let's do it.
Okay, so there was a handful of mishits that I wasn't thrilled with. 1, 2, 3, 4. You kind of had like 6 mishits. So the majority of them were not the best of your ability, where I think you had better ones out of the Cobra and especially the Wilson. Mm-hmm. I really like the Wilson for you, so far out of the gate anyway. Like I said, in a fitting, I would just take this out of your hands. You're averaging 262 total, 260 with the Cobra, 263 with the Wilson. Everyone wants to see that total number, the carry distance, and then your driver, remember, is 259. So 4 yards difference, but I'm ready to give you something new.
For sure.
You okay with that?
Yep.
Okay, ready?
I'm ready to go.
New driver. A lot of people are talking about this driver. This is the Ping G430 10K Max. 10K is MOI. MOI is moment of inertia, which basically means forgiveness on mishits.
Okay.
What happens with a driver with higher MOI is the face twists less. So let's say you hit the toe and it either shuts it or you hit the heel and it opens it. There's less torque, less twist in the face. So the theory is mishits should come off square.
And you saying that as well, I could really feel those with my current driver. Coming through, I could feel, inside, outside.
Gotcha.
Not being true. This one looks like I got ran over by a tractor here. But definitely a rugged, intense looking club head.
Yeah, they call those turbulators, the
Yeah.
Ping turbulators. They're the only manufacturer that has turbulators on the top line that I know of. Some people love them, some people don't.
We'll see how she does.
It's decent.
Yeah, and I thought I was gonna pull that hard left, so that's a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, a lot of people I talk to that played this driver, they say that. I thought I mishit it, and it turned out to be okay. So that's a pretty good characteristic of a driver. Sounds good.
Feels like it comes through a lot. It almost squares itself up, it feels. It's weird. Yeah. Must be those tire tracks.
Could be.
Yeah.
I like this driver for you so far.
Well, it's not the fitting, it's the free lessons as well, you know.
I haven't really done much to help your swing other than I told you before we started to think of hitting up on the ball.
Yeah.
That's really all that I told you, right?
Well, it works, man. It works.
One thing that I notice, and maybe I shouldn't even tell you now, but it doesn't happen a lot in here. Your ball hits this center line 90% of the time.
Really?
Which is starting straight square to the target line. I had a ex-pro golfer, everything was left of the line coming off. So to see someone that's an 18 handicap, 16 handicap, consistently hit that start line, like I could probably take you to a 7 cap in a year, I would bet.
Stay tuned for the next version.
Yeah, we can. If the audience is having fun with Andrew, we could definitely do a summer series.
Bring him back, yeah. Bring him back, summer series, where the pints are flowing and the sun's shining.
I really like this driver for you so far. How about you?
It does feel great, I'll be honest. Didn't want to like it because I saw Ping and instantly saw dollar signs, but
Well, let's pull out the price of the Ping.
it does feel really nice. It feels great. It feels very, very forgiving. And I feel like I'm not really swinging as hard to get the same result, oddly enough.
So you're not gonna love this because I think Ping is the most expensive driver out of any of them. They're $880.
$880. Does it come with a 12 pack of balls?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
nice. Okay, that's 10. Let's take a look.
Whew, 10 long ones.
Have some water. Take a break.
Yeah. Better take 5.
Okay, buddy. We finally have some impressive data. It sounds like I'm tooting over here, but this floor is creaky. People say that in my comments all the time, like who's cutting it up, and it's
Doesn't smell like the floor is squeaking.
okay. Enough of toots. Carry with your driver 215, 230 with the Wilson, 230 with the Cobra, 230 with the Srixon, 240.
Wow.
So we gained 10 yards in carry with the new driver. Look at the total, 268 versus 262, 260, 263. So almost 10 yards we've gained in both your carry and your rollout.
I wasn't expecting that substantial of a difference, I'll be honest with you.
Let's look at the dispersion. This is your tightest dispersion yet. You only had 2 left. We now got you on a fade. You had 1 right on the line, 1 just right of the line, 3 right beside it. The ones that got away from you were a high fade, and your miss has been a pull hook.
Absolutely, yeah. It's got to be the tractor tread, man. It has to be the tread. There's no other explanation.
So golf is an expensive sport. So, because I think the other drivers that I really like for you is the Wilson Dynapwr. So we're going from 550 to now 880. So is this $300 in difference better? That's really up to the golfer to decide, because $300 for someone might be a penny and $300 for someone else might be, half their paycheck. Money's all relative.
Well, and yeah, we want, you grow the sport, right? We want everyone out there golfing. We don't want it to maintain with the only ones that can afford it. And personally, the only way I would even entertain this is if I had a pocket full of gift cards from Christmas and birthdays. Full disclosure, I hit it well. I loved it, loved the sound, loved the feel, but it's just not within my price point.
Yeah, that's fair. I think a lot of people can relate to that. Like, golf is so expensive. $880 for a driver. I remember I was selling golf retail clubs 15 years ago, and if you spent $500 on a driver, that was like a fully custom shaft, like the full setup. Mm-hmm. So now to be at $880, and again, that's Canadian, so for your Americans,
it's like $50.
But that's a big pill to swallow. What I do like though is that the performance was better. There's no arguing that the performance was better.
Oh, the cost translated for sure. I mean, you're playing on a sim like this and getting that kind of data. You can't fight that fact that the cost is really driving the performance here.
I'm going to give you another driver that is like a direct competitor to this. So I was talking about the 10K MOI, 10,000 MOI. Taylormade has a driver that has 10 kMOI. So I think it'd be cool to go from the Ping to the Taylormade because they're kind of apple to apple new technology comparison. Yep. So let's hit the Taylormade.
Let's do it.
Okay, this is that Taylormade I was talking about. This is the Qi10 Max. So this has the same 10,000 MOI as the previous Ping.
Yep.
So I would call these like direct competitors. Even all of these are like max forgiveness drivers.
Yeah, you can see like the face feels like it's incredibly reinforced, eh?
Yeah, so it's a carbon face. So with drivers, for years it was all titanium. Even some of these drivers that you hit are titanium, your current driver's titanium face. This is a carbon face. So carbon is a lighter material. With drivers, they try to see how they can manipulate the weight. So with their face, they also have twist face technology, which again helps that 10 kMOI. But yeah, I'm interested to see how you hit this, especially since you hit the Ping so good.
Let's do it. That foot down, nice and smooth.
Look at that, nice tight draw.
You don't see those often. First club I hit a draw with today, I think.
Yeah, you've hit a couple of them.
Interesting, hey? At some point, fatigue will play a factor.
100%. You keep swinging up on that driver, you're never going to have that left pull.
It's the angle of attack there, eh?
Something I was helping Andrew with earlier is just hitting up on the driver. So a really good drill that you guys can do at home or on the range, take your driver head cover and put it a foot in front of the ball. So you have to clear your head cover every time. So if you struggle with kind of like that down and left miss, if you can just swing up on the ball, you're not going to hurt your head cover. So that's what we were kind of just working on. Wow. 149 smash, 277 cut.
Yeah.
You could be a 3 handicap by the end of summer.
Yeah, I don't think so, man. We forgot about the whole consumption.
Wow, bro. Wow, bro. Okay, let's look at some data.
Oh, man.
Data. Okay, Andrew, really close to that Ping. Ping carry, 240. Taylormade, 239.5. You had one more drastic miss hit, but again, you only had one left. Look at you favoring the right side.
Never see that.
So with the Ping, you're 268 total. Taylormade 267. So you're right there. We get rid of that one miss hit, I'll bet you they're apples to apples. Let's look at the dispersion. Tight, bro. Look how consistent that is.
Yeah, it's even I'm impressed.
1, 2, 3 by the line. These are consistent. If these are your misses, your big far misses, far right and far left, that's just the rough. Here's the middle of the fairway. Couple on the rough. Let's compare that to the Ping. Ping was actually favoring the right side. Ping, you had a couple left, but really comparable. Price point for the Taylormade, we are still in the higher end.
Yep.
This is $7.99 Canadian. So $50 difference between the Ping and the Taylormade.
Yep.
Based on all the results that you have, if we're only 1 yard difference, within reason, I think you're saving $50 going to the Taylormade.
You are, but I mean, does this have tractor tracks on it? I don't know. They are, like you said, apples to apples. They did swing, they did sound, they hit very similar. I'm just super happy to see my low left pulls kind of being eliminated here through these swings.
So let's look at your current Taylormade. Taylormade M4. We're favoring that left side, 215 carry, 269 total. And with the new Taylormade, we gained, 25 yards in carry? So definite improvements. I still, if you have energy at the end, I want you to hit your current driver again with me just changing the hosel setting.
Change the setting, yeah, and get that different face angle.
But we got 2 more new drivers for you to test.
Let's do it.
Okay, buddy, this is another really good new driver. This is the Callaway Paradym AI Smoke.
Ooh, smoky. It's got a neat look to it, eh? I don't think I've ever seen a driver.
It's really cool. It's almost like a turtle shell.
Yeah.
Like marble almost. Yeah, it's
a carbon fiber head there, and see how this one does. My club speed is staying fairly consistent.
Yep.
Now it's on a rope, I think.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Here's your best one with the Callaway.
It felt different too.
It just took you 7 to get there.
Yeah, right? It's warming up. It's been a long day.
So Andrew, I'll let you know. Every one of these drivers that you're testing, when you hit it dead square on the screws, they're all gonna be really good. This test is just kind of finding which one can you get the majority of good hits. Because with this driver, if you only have 1 out of 10 good hits, it would be a representation of you take it to the course.
Yep.
So all of these drivers are built to perform at a high level when they're hit dead square. For someone of your playing caliber, I want to find out what's happening with the miss hits.
Right.
So that's why we're kind of comparing these.
For sure. Low left, low left.
Okay, let's end it there. I think we can both agree that this was not your best session.
No, I just couldn't handle the smoke, man.
You had a handful get away from your right, a handful get away from your left.
Yeah.
What I did like seeing was the potential of this driver. So you potentially could hit this thing 275 right down the middle. Mm-hmm. The bit of an issue that I had just with this testing session for you is that the majority of them were nowhere near where the others have been.
Right. Well,
it's just sometimes some of us get along with one manufacturer or one club, and others, everyone's different.
Yep.
So if we go from your previous session with the Taylormade Ping, both super tight, like these are by far your best dispersions, and then we go into the smoke is probably one of your worst.
Yeah.
So it's, sometimes people go into fittings or testing drivers and they think in their head, I want this driver. Mm-hmm. You could have came here being like, I want to leave with the Paradym smoke.
Right.
But when you look at the data collection, you're like, oh man, maybe the Ping or the Taylormade or even the Wilson was better for me.
And you can't, well, you shouldn't ignore that data, the brand names, like you say, you may be loyal to a single brand, but venturing off down another route could definitely help you for sure.
Yeah. So we got one driver left for you. I think I can say with confidence that this just wasn't the combo for you.
Yep.
Let's try one more.
Let's do it.
Andrew, I just forgot to mention the price of the Callaway was $7.99 as well. So same price point as the Taylormade, and I think we had better results out of the Taylormade.
Well, Taylormade and Ping both outperformed for myself, anyways.
Last one, Titleist. This is the TSR2, or still 55 gram stiff shaft.
Ooh, sleek.
Yeah, I would say Titleist has like the most classic looks.
Okay.
If you like clean lines, they're a full titanium driver, so you're not going to see the carbon on it. The only thing a little unique is they have a 3D etched face. So the Taylormade had the carbon face. This is an etched face. That's really the only out there visual aesthetic that you'll see with the Titleist.
Okay.
Super clean looking driver though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good start.
Good thing you didn't start with the price on this one.
It's going to be right in the same ballpark as the other ones.
So what do we want to see that angle of attack, generally, on average?
With amateurs, you want to see positive. You want amateurs hitting up on the ball. The PGA Tour average is actually negative. Pros are actually hitting down on the ball.
Even their drivers.
Well, so if you hit up on the ball, it's going to go further, okay? For pros, they don't need extra distance. So they're actually trying to play just kind of like a cut, the majority of golfers. So the tour average is actually a negative angle, but for almost all amateurs, you want to be swinging up on it.
Okay.
And like attack angle is hard for any amateur to measure.
Right.
Because not everyone has a $40,000 TrackMan or these high-end launch monitors. So the best way to really find out if you're hitting up on the ball is do that drill, like I said, put your driver head cover in front of the ball. And if you hit your driver head cover, you're hitting down on it.
Right,
So you need to avoid it. That was a really good swing, that last one.
Thanks.
Woo! 275 cut down the line, 2,500 spin, 146, 2.5 attack angle. Who is this guy? I'd hate to have to give you 20 strokes on the golf course.
I think you'd be all right still, buddy.
Look at that. 280, that was the straightest drive you've hit.
Yeah, that's how you finish the session right there.
Good finish, buddy. Really good.
I love it.
Let's take a look at the data collection.
We got something to talk about, do we? That's wild, man.
You saved the best for last.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I was getting wore out, and these are some of my best numbers. So
I've had a lot of people complain in the comments saying that, oh, the last driver that he hit, he's the most warm. Do you feel more tired than you did in the middle of your session?
Oh, 100%. Like this isn't easy. It's
Fatigue
not.
happens. You just hit 80 drivers swings plus your warm up.
Yeah.
Right? Like we're getting to the end of your session. We're getting pretty tired.
Absolutely.
This is interesting, my friend. Titleist TSR2, $7.99. Okay. Look at that dispersion versus the AI smoke. Not even close. Same guy, same swing. Crazy. So let's look at that compared to the Taylormade. You didn't have one ducky hook with that Titleist. So let's look at Titleist versus Ping. Let's go to the dispersion, because this is going to be the most impressive.
Wow.
Dude, look at that. That looks like a scratch golfer's dispersion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 80% of your drives were favoring a nice high baby draw. You had 2 get away from you. So let's go to the AI smoke. Like, see how far apart they are? Let's go. Taylormade was awesome. I would say dispersion-wise, this is the closest to the Taylormade. But again, you were 80% high draw. Taylormade, you were almost 50-50. Some left, some right. Ping, I think you're actually right favoring. It comes down to what side do you want to favor, right? Would you rather favor a high cut or a high draw? So I wanted to show you the drivers that I think have been best for you. So we'll start with the Wilson. Wilson initially out of the gate were improvements on your current driver. Looking at this dispersion graph, we can probably eliminate Wilson, okay? So let's eliminate Wilson. Okay, it's gonna get a little bit more competitive here. Now we're down to the Titleist, the Taylormade, and the Ping. Those are the best 3 drives for you. Looking at all of these dispersions, I would be happy with all of them. They all overlap each other.
Yeah, it's fairly consistent. Like you say, you eliminated the crazy duck hooks or the nasty slices so far.
So now we can go back into kind of our average data. So you're averaging 270 total with the Titleist. You're averaging 267 with the Taylormade and 268 with the Ping. When I look at your tracers, I would say Titleist was the most consistent in your session. Ping, there's some variance. You see these low ones. Taylormade was consistent. You had the 1 duck hook. But the Titleist, you had 80% high draws, no miss hits, and 2 fades that were still in play.
Yeah, you can't be upset with those for sure.
So data, I like to say, is 80% of picking a driver. You saw all of them, you felt them. Based on everything that we just tested, what driver would you put in your bag?
Oh, wow. Price point, not an issue, obviously.
Yeah, let's say not an issue. Let's say that it's a
I think it would absolutely go to the Titleist and the Ping. I think were my 2 favorite, which was surprising. I've been a Callaway, been a Taylormade man, but those two drivers for sure I felt the best. The miss hits, the good hits, the not so great hits. You know, it felt consistent throughout. Again, not having to do anything with the brand. I think this last driver, Titleist, really blew me away. I was exhausted by the end of it, and I was getting some of my best numbers. And you know, losing 4 miles an hour on my club speed, but still getting that 270, it's impressive, I have to say.
It was cool to see.
Yeah, absolutely. So personally, I think the Titleist is the winner all day long. The looks, the feel, we're not talking price point obviously, but I love the driver, I must say.
Love it. Before you get out of here, I hope you have maybe 3 hits left in you because I just put your current driver back to the standard setting.
Yeah.
So I'm just interested to see how you hit that.
Let's do it.
Compared to where we started.
Sounds good, man.
Try it.
So this would be a 9.5 degree standard.
9.5 degree standard.
Oh, there she is. And now what's different too is I'm going back to regular flex, right?
Well, so like shaft plays such a big difference. You didn't do that once with any of the stiff shafts. So right away, just to improve your current driver, I would throw that shaft in the garbage and get a stiff shaft.
Yeah.
So that would be $100 fix. 100, 200 bucks maybe. Out of everything that we fit, we could buy you one of those shafts, put a Taylormade tip on it, and already you've improved your current driver.
Right, right.
So if you didn't
at a low cost point.
If you didn't want to spend 800 bucks, you could go for a fitting. It's like somewhere here at Modern Golf, fitting would be like 100 bucks, plus the shaft, 300 bucks.
Yeah, yeah.
Hit it again. Let's see if we can get a good one.
Junky.
That's another thing to take into consideration too, Andrew. If you wanted to sell your driver on Facebook Marketplace, you could probably get 200 bucks out of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? So we put 200 bucks that we're getting back from our current driver, then the $800 driver is now 600 bucks. Like there's things that you can do to either improve your driver or lower the cost of it.
Right, right. One more here, we'll get her done.
Okay. There's a nice high one on the line. We'll finish with that one.
Finish with that one.
I think we can say with certainty that we found improvements in the new stuff.
Oh, 100%. And I know it'll come up, you know, take a lesson. Even you just taking the time to say, Andrew, you know, take that extra second, focus on hitting up on the ball. The results are tremendous, man. It's awesome.
Well, thanks for coming on. Thanks for you guys for watching this video. I think we saw definite improvements in the new drivers versus Andrew's current one. And thanks for being a good sport. Be nice to Andrew in the comments. You know, it takes a lot of balls to come on a YouTube channel and have a bunch of people watch your swing. So I appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much. And we'll check in with you guys next time.